Hey guys, how's it going? So I have another devotional video for you today. I interviewed Annie Mae Denny, who, as most of you know, has been at this church for a while, but she is about to go on the world race. I will let her talk more about what that is, but just know that she's got a lot of good things coming for her. She is really excited about the trip she's about to go on. But with that intro, I will go ahead and throw it to the interview with Annie. Hey guys, I'm here with Annie. Most of you probably know her, but I just wanted to sit down and talk with her about some stuff she's got coming up ahead. So Annie, take it away, introduce yourself, let people know who you are.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Annie. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up at FBC Willow Park, and both my parents are still members there, Mike and Betsy Denny, if you guys know them. Yeah, and so I'm excited to talk to you guys today about the world race and what the Lord's doing in my life right now.
Awesome. So kind of give us a quick background of who you are and kind of how you came to know Jesus.
Yeah. So, my I grew up going to church with my parents. Both of my parents were really active in the church when I was growing up, and they encouraged me to be active as well. And so, when I was in elementary school, I started noticing just something different about my parents and about my older sisters. I felt like they had like something special, and the more I learned about Jesus and who he is and what he did for us, the more I realized that that's what I was missing, that that's what they had, a relationship with him. And that's what that special thing was in their lives. So I talked to my parents about that. And through the help of my pastor at the time, I confessed my sins and asked the Lord into my heart when I was 8 years old. And then as I grew up through middle school and through early high school, I started gaining a lot of head knowledge. I learned all the Bible stories, and I knew a lot in my head. Did Awanas, all that good stuff, and I had a lot of head knowledge about the gospel and about the Lord. But it wasn't until I was on a mission trip in Peru that a lot of that head knowledge started like moving down into my heart. And so when I was in Peru, I witnessed a lot of brokenness and a lot of poverty. And the Lord just started showing me a lot about the truths of the gospel that I really didn't really take to heart until that time. And the Lord was showing me that true peace and purpose comes from Jesus and Jesus only. It doesn't come from having a lot of money. It doesn't come from having a lot of friends or having the right friends. It doesn't come from being perfect, which was something that I struggled with a lot and still do. Wanting to be perfect. It doesn't come from any of those things. It just comes from him. And so that message really started to take root in my heart at the time. And then from there, the Lord has just continued to show how faithful he is in my life through some big seasons in life, through changing my major in college, through getting my first job out of college, and then through this big transition of going on the world race. The Lord's just showing me his faithfulness and his purpose. Yeah.
Man, dang. So those trips to Peru, by the way, were pretty solid trips.
They were.
I had a lot of times there too, so I get that. So you went to OBU, as did I, and you mentioned you had changed your major, and that was kind of like like you said, a season of life that was changing. And now, kind of catch us up. What has happened in the past year?
Okay. Yeah. So in the past year, I've been teaching. I've been a teacher for the past 3 years now. And basically, through the past 3 years in teaching, that has, I guess, always been like my plan to be a teacher. And I followed along the plan just as as I had hoped. And after college, I moved in with my friends from college. I was basically like continuing to do college, but also have a job. I was only like semi-adulting from there. And then the past Thanksgiving is when I moved out, and that's when this whole thing started to develop from there.
It's a good word.
Yeah.
So you mentioned like kind of following a plan and that changing. And so kind of what were the factors that kind of led to that change? So maybe some things you noticed or something, I don't know, something like an epiphany or something like that.
Yeah. So there were a few like different pieces of the story that led up into making this decision. So I'll just start at the beginning. So last November, I had to move out of where I was living. I was living with one of my good friends from college because she was getting married, and so I couldn't live there anymore. So I moved in with two complete strangers who had been living together for like 3 years, and they were really good friends with each other, and they'd been living together for 3 years. So they were good friends. I did not know them. They were a little older than me, so they were just a little bit of a different life stage. So that was a big challenge. It was a big transition, and I had a lot going on in my heart at the time. Just a lot of anxieties, a lot of jealousy. I was struggling with being content in the season that I was in. And so that's kind of where everything rooted from. I wasn't necessarily like questioning if God was there, but I was questioning why I was having to deal with all of that stuff. I was like, why me? Why am I the one that has to move out and go live with random people? Why am I the one that's still single? Why am I, and blah, 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 all these things about me. So that's kind of where it started from. And I wanted to read something from my journal that I wrote in that November when I was transitioning into moving in with these random people. And so I prayed. I said, I know that in order to grow, things have to change. We must be pushed to new challenges and new depths in order to be more molded into being like Christ. Father, remind me that your wisdom and faith often comes post-storm. And I felt like I was in a storm per se. I knew that it was a challenging time, and I knew in my head that the Lord takes us through those times because he wants to teach us something, but I couldn't see it at the time. I was struggling. I was like, it was really challenging time. So that's where it all rooted from. And then after that, it was Christmas time. I had my like yearly appraisal with my principal around that time, and basically what that is just the principal comes and watches you teach and tells you how you're doing. And those always make me super nervous, but it went really well. My principal said everything that I had wanted to hear. She told me that I was doing a great job, that I was a good teacher, that she was happy that I was at her school. I mean, everything that you want to hear as a teacher. She was saying all of those things. And it wasn't making me feel like any better. I mean, it was nice to hear, but I was like, I've been striving to be great at this job, and I'm doing it, and I still don't feel content. I wasn't satisfied. And that, at the time, I didn't understand why I didn't feel that way. But then as pieces started falling in place later, I was like, oh, okay. So moving to the next step of it, I have another piece of my journal that I think I dog-eared, but now I don't see it. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So that was around Christmas time. Flash forward now, it's the end of January, and I'm still going on in this prayer journal that had like these different prompts. And one of the prompts was to write down three goals for yourself and pray for the Lord to help you meet those goals. And I was like, okay, I can do this. Yeah, perfect. We'll set some goals. So here were the goals that I set. And what's crazy to me, like looking back and reading these, especially like finding this exact page today, I haven't read these goals in a few months. This was before I even knew about the world race. I didn't even know exactly what it was when I was praying these goals, and just how specific these are to what the world race is gonna be. It's crazy. The Lord is really cool. So here are the three goals. The first goal was to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want to seek opportunities that will step me out of my comfort zone and force me to do things that are uncomfortable so that I can be grown. The Lord was teaching me a lot at the time of it's harder to grow sometimes when you're comfortable because you're good. Everything's going well. So why would you want to change things? And that I was like, that I need to fix that. But I really like living in the comfort zone. I had the same job for 3 very nice years. I was good at it. I was comfortable, and I wasn't doing a lot of growing. And so I prayed to be put in a situation that was uncomfortable. You have to be careful when you pray something like that. The second goal was I prayed that I would make some new friends and build a stronger community of believers around me. I had good friends, but both of my friends were moving. Not far, but we were no longer like living in the same place. And so that was different. And so I prayed that I would have a community of believers around me to strengthen me. And then the third thing I prayed was to travel, which is super random. I like traveling, but I don't do a lot of traveling on my own. I think I'm just too scared to travel, and I don't know. I'm just busy with my job, but I was like, I want to travel. I want to see some different places, do some different things. So those were my three goals that I set at the end of January. And within like 2 weeks of praying these things, that's when everything started to just like explode. So I listened to some podcasts. They're called Girls Night by Stephanie Mae Wilson. But I was listening to some different podcasts, and one of the podcasts I listened to, she was talking about traveling, and this girl actually went on the world race. And so that's where I first heard of it. And I was like, I wonder what this is. Got on my Google, started searching it a little bit. And then another podcast that I listened to was about comparison, which is another thing that I've struggled with basically my whole life. I like to be the best, and I like to do things perfectly. And neither of those are good things to strive for. And that podcast really just changed some of the ways that I was thinking. I am unfortunately really guilty of comparing my life to what other people are doing right now. Like other people my age are doing this. They're getting married and having babies, and I'm not. So what's wrong? Why is the Lord giving them those things and not me? Why don't I get those things? And I was really confused about that. And so when you think those things and when you compare your story to other people's story, you like totally miss out on what the Lord has planned for you. And you force the Lord into this box of, this is what the Lord does for people who are faithful to him, and for people who have faith. He does this and this and this. And it goes in that order in the time frame that you think. But when you do that, you totally like take away his creativity, and you miss out on the special thing that he has planned for you. So I was struggling with those thoughts of comparison, and that's when I stumbled upon the world race, and I started doing research on it. And from there, it was just, I couldn't get it out of my head. I talked with my parents about it, and when I like voiced it out loud, I was so scared. I was crying, and I was like, I don't know about this. This is insane. Like, I have a good job. I am doing well. Why would I do something like this? And that's, where the wisdom of my dad came in. He said, well, if you're going to do something about this, now's the time. Maybe the Lord has kept you in this season of singleness, because you are more mobile. You can, like, drop your job. You have no responsibilities. You can quit your job and move, and it's going to be okay, And so from there, I was like, yeah, that's a good point. And I just started praying about it more. When I talked to my parents, I was word vomiting everywhere. And I remembered back before Christmas when my principal told me all the things I wanted to hear, and I didn't feel satisfied.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I was like, I've been trying to chase um, job satisfaction for so long, and I got it, but I didn't.
Mm.
And it clicked. I was like, well, duh, because being the best teacher out there isn't the most important thing in the world. And so I had that epiphany and kept praying about it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll apply, and we'll just see. I may not even get accepted, so I'm not gonna tell a lot of people. I'm just gonna put it in the back of my mind, and we'll just see what happens. So I applied, and I had a phone interview, and the day before the phone interview, I was like, okay, Lord, giving him a little ultimatum, which is never good. But I was like, okay, so if I get accepted, then, like, maybe I'll do it. But I'm not even going to tell people that I'm having this interview, because I don't want to not get it and then be embarrassed, because I care way too much about what other people think. That's another story. So I had my phone interview. It was at like 6 a.m. because the Georgia people are on a different time, and I was working, and I could only do it during the week. So I had to get up early and do it before work.
Oof.
Woke up that morning, and as I was getting ready for work, I was just, praying and getting ready for the interview. And I did the interview, and I felt like it went really well, but I still was unsure. And then my interviewer was like, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now that you've been accepted. And he's like, I don't normally do this, like, on the phone right after the interview, but I'm confident that when my supervisor reviews my notes that he's going to accept you anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now you're accepted. And I was like, what? I was like, okay. I was like, so do I have time to think about it? And he was like, yeah, you have 1 week. I was like, all right, great. So I was totally caught off guard by that. Went to work that day, struggled to stay focused on my job, but I did it. And from there, I was like, man, you really made this pretty clear for me that that there's really not another choice for me next year, that this is really what you want me to do. So I decided to accept the offer, and I signed up. And then from there, I've just been preparing for the race. So it's been a roller coaster, and the Lord has taught me a lot in this process and in the preparation of it. But I'm just really excited to see where He continues to take all of the things. So that's the story. It's a really long story, but
Hey, that's all right.
all the pieces have to be there for it to really make sense, and for it to fully show how much the Lord's hand was in everything when you look back at the different seasons. And it's just fun to go back and read your journal. So you people, if you don't journal, you should journal, because it's cool to go back and read your prayers.
Man, so I had heard bits and pieces and never really heard the full thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I can relate to a lot of that too. So, man, that's crazy. So when was your trip originally supposed to leave? What was like the original trip you signed up for and all of that, and then what has happened since then?
Yeah, okay. So originally, I signed up for an August route, which means that I was supposed to have a training camp in June and then launch officially in August.
Okay.
Um, that was the perfect schedule for me. I was like, this is great. I can take 1 year off of work, leave in August, be back in July, be teaching the next year, and it'll be great. It was the perfect plan. I don't think I would have signed up for the race had that not been the original route. I don't think honestly I had enough faith to give up on more than 1 year of teaching,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I really like being a teacher, and I am in the middle of fulfilling my duties to the government. I have a grant that I have to teach 4 years in a low income school.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to pay the government back lots of money. And I've only done 3 years. And I was like, it's okay. I'll be gone for one. I'll come back. I'll get the last year and it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the original plan. Um, but obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic,
What?
and August was not going to work um, to launch. So I think it was like in March or April, they postponed our launch date to October. And I was like, that's really doesn't work with what I have planned, because
Mm-hmm.
now I could possibly be out of the classroom, most likely actually be out of the classroom for 2 years. And then I get back in September. And what do you do in September when you're a teacher? When you get back? What am I going to do for a whole year? And I'm like, what? I don't even know how that's going to work. And so that was a hard pill to swallow. But I really felt like this is what the Lord wanted me to do. So I was going to go ahead and stick with the plan. And I was like, maybe when I get back, I could get hired on late somewhere. I don't really know, but I really feel like I should go ahead and keep pursuing this. So then the launch was in October. And then the most recent switch that we've had is we can't launch internationally in October because of COVID. And so they were like, you can launch stateside in October and then hopefully move internationally next year, like in January, or you can just postpone your trip to January, or you can even postpone your trip to next August. So I had a few of those options.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I was just like, I think I'm ready to do this now. So I decided to stick with the October route. And so I'll be launching stateside. I don't know what cities yet. I don't know what countries yet. Everything is up in the air, but that's okay. It reminds me, uh, a few days ago in my quiet time, I was reading through some Proverbs, and in Proverbs 19, it says that many are the plans in the mind of a man. And I was like, yep, that's me. Many are the plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. And I'm like, yep, basically I can make all these plans. I can even know where I'm going. I mean, you have no idea how many like strange looks I get when people ask what I'm going to be doing next year, and I'm like, I don't know, but that's okay. You can have the plans, but the plans aren't what's going to stand. It's the purpose of the Lord, and that's taking the gospel to the nations. And even if the nations is the U.S., there are people here that still need to hear the gospel. So
Yeah.
that's the purpose, and that's what's going to end up standing. So that's the plan now. The plan, not really the plan, because
Right.
it's
So,
not a solid plan. My parents keep asking me so many questions. I'm like, I don't know. They just said to wait.
hey, that's like Jonathan asked me what I'm going to teach on next, and I have no idea.
Yeah.
Just tell him maybe this, maybe that. I don't
Yep.
know yet. But man, that's crazy. And I've been praying for you during this whole time, just because I know it's been crazy. And your parents have told the Sunday school class here a lot of different details as things have been developing and stuff like that. And so just know that, it's not just me praying for you, obviously, but you're being prayed for by a lot of people here and a lot of people but how can we be praying for you? Like, what are specific things that maybe with your trip, or are you still like raising funds, or how can we help you out with that stuff? Like,
what's up?
Yeah. So definitely be praying for safety. It's scary to be traveling right now with the virus. It's not the best time to be like moving around and going to a bunch of different places. So pray for safety for my team and that we all stay healthy. And that um, the Adventures and Missions, which is the organization that puts it on, that they can come up with like a solid plan for what happens when somebody gets sick, because it's not a matter of if, probably. I mean, somebody's gonna get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So just how to navigate those waters when we're all living in close corners in close community. How do we avoid it spreading in all those different kinds of things?
Yeah.
So be praying for that. Um, Also be praying for fundraising. I am still fundraising right now. I have a deadline coming up on September 11th, I think, that I'm not ready for, but the Lord will provide. He who calls us is faithful, and so I know that He will provide. And the cool thing about it is, hearing stories from my teammates and their fundraising stories, and just hearing the different ways that He provides. It's like the less that we do, the more it glorifies Him. And that kind of, I'm not saying don't do anything, and I'm not just like sitting around waiting for money to fall from the sky. But the less that we do, the more we can see how He's moving. And the later the money comes in, the more glory He gets, because it's probably a wild story or something. So just be praying that the Lord continues to provide the financial support I need, especially for that deadline that's coming up in September. And then just be praying for my heart and getting prepared. I feel like every day I have a different emotion. Sometimes it's excitement, sometimes it's anxious, sometimes it's overwhelming, all of the emotions. So just pray that the Lord continues to prepare my heart for this season, as well as my family. It's going to be hard on all of us. Being away, not being able to see everybody, and then also just missing out on a bunch of milestones, kind of. I know that life continues to move on when I'm gone, and so I've been trying to prepare my heart. Like, okay, I know I'm going to miss Thanksgiving this year, and that's okay. I know I'm going to miss Christmas, and that's okay. I know I'm going to miss my dad's birthday. That's okay. And my mom's birthday, and my sister's birthdays, and that's okay. But just preparing my heart for those things, that those, worldly desires and worldly situations don't weigh on my heart too heavy, but that the mission and the purpose would take precedence over that. So
Gotcha.
all of those things.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll say this real quick. We grew up together. We're in the same grade, and I've never told you this, but I really looked up to you as we were going throughout middle school and high school, just because, there were no other guys consistently in our grade that went to church with us. And so like you and Shelby and Cheyenne became really good friends, especially like junior and senior year. And I really, really looked up to you, and to see you now, like, kind of understand that, it's not about all our plans. It's about just following God. And that's really encouraging. I mean, I still look up to you, honestly, but we'll be praying for you for sure. Keep us updated. Once you find something out, let me know. I'll let the students know, because I know every Sunday you're here, like 10 people bombard you. So, I mean, if they want to come up and talk to you, I'm sure they're allowed to.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, keep us updated, and we'll be praying for you. And thanks for taking some time.
Yeah, definitely. I have prayer cards that I should probably just start bringing with me to church. That literally just dawned on me, because I have a ton, and so I'm gonna be like passing them out like candy, because they'll just go to waste sitting at my house. So if anybody wants a prayer card too, they can come find me at church, or I can like leave a stack with you or something that you can pass out to them.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Well, again, thanks for taking some time and talking.
Yeah, totally. You're welcome. It was fun.
So that was the interview with Annie Mae. She is really excited about that trip, but at the same time, a little nervous because it's going to be a little up in the air as of right now. But she is very excited, and I got to talk to her more about it afterwards, and she is just pumped for the trip. But at the same time, she is still raising funds for the trip. So if you would like to donate, I will throw the link down in the description, and you can go there. You can read her blog. You can donate, keep up with what she's doing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what she has coming up for and what's in store for that trip. So that's going to be it for this video. I will see y'all next time. Bye.